Hey, good morning, and welcome to the Hot Seat Radio Show. This is Donovan Sadiq, Pastor Don's weekly devotional. We're doing it a day earlier, and it is the day before election. So again, I hope you guys have really, those of you that haven't voted yet are going to vote tomorrow, and make sure you understand what the issues are and who the candidates are. We've got a special guest today, and our special guest is Miss Pat. Miss Pat?
Yes, that's fine.
And she's going to join us today. And Pastor Don, as always, we thank you for coming and giving us your weekly devotional. I can't tell you how many people are so grateful to hear what you have to say to the week, because it's almost like you're talking to a lot of people out there. And it's a blessing just to have you. Again, we're here every Tuesday, usually on the Day Street. Come and have a coffee with us. Pastor Don is willing to pay. No, I'm joking. Come have a coffee with us here on Day Street at the Starbucks. We enjoy it. We love to fellowship with you. We love to talk with you via internet. However you want to talk to Pastor Don, he is always willing to talk. So, Pastor Don, this is your show. Have at it. Thank you again.
Well, again, Donovan, thank you so much for producing this show for me. You don't have any idea how much I really appreciate what you do. You know, today, Donovan, we're going to do something a little different on my podcast show. This morning, I as you already mentioned, we're introducing Pat Porter. Now, Pat lives here in Moreno Valley, and she has been attending my church, Reflections Christian Fellowship in Paris, for about almost 5 years. I've asked Pat and her husband, Scott, to help me with this church plant that I'm trying to get started here in Rancho Bulago, and she has excitedly agreed. I think that some of the skepticism and hesitation from our listeners in getting involved with a new church plant is that you really don't know a whole lot about me. It is a difficult decision to come support a new church plant for a pastor that you don't know much about. All you really know about me is through my daily devotionals on my Reflections Moreno Valley Facebook page, and these weekly podcast devotionals on my YouTube channel, or through Donovan's News from Edgemont. But what I'm asking you to do is trust God in this request and allow your heart to be open to this awesome opportunity to expand God's kingdom. One of my favorite verses in the Bible that I try to live by every day is Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. I am asking you, all you listeners, to trust God in making this decision, in joining the team, and starting this church plant in Rancho Bulago. I will tell you this, I guarantee this, it will change your life for the good. Now, next Monday night, November 14th, is a big night, because it is when we will be having our first core group meeting with all the folks that signed up to be a part of the core group team. And as I've already mentioned, I have asked Pat to come in here and answer a couple questions from Donovan on myself, my church in Paris. Why should you support this mission of God in being a part of this church plant in Rancho Bulago? So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Donovan and Pat and allow you to listen to this interview. Then at the end, I will come back and give you all the information on how you can join us next Monday night for this gathering. And let me say this disclaimer. I want to be very clear about this right now.
Okay.
I have never coached Pat on anything to say or how to say it. This is all from her heart, with no input from me or from Donovan. So this may be a slight risk for me, not knowing what Pat will say, but I do know one thing. This woman talks from her heart. So I'm turning it back to you, Donovan, and to Pat.
Okay, well, that's something new. Like I said, everybody knows I'm pretty good with asking questions and putting people on the hot seat. That's what we do here. So we're going to put you on the hot seat. So first question I would like to ask is, how are you doing, Miss Pat?
I'm doing great.
Okay, I don't want you to be nervous. I don't want you to be nervous. Yeah,
no, I'm good.
The mic there.
Thank you.
Welcome to Pastor Don's weekly devotional. Now, I just want to know, how long have you known Pastor Don, and what is your opinion of his church in Paris?
Well, I've known the pastor now for about 5 years now, and I love the church. I don't even know where to start, because when I first started going there, I didn't know anybody. I got to meet the pastor and his wife, and they have so much passion in what they do, and they're so uplifting, and they just make you feel really at home. It's, how in some churches you don't know the protocol, there's different protocols. You walk in there and you just feel really comfortable. He's really a kickback kind of guy. I mean, he makes you feel at home, like it's your home. So anybody who goes there knows how good it feels just to walk in there, because you could feel the love, you could feel the Holy Spirit. He has so much passion in what he does. And my husband says, especially, one of the reasons, although he's just kidding around, about the pastor is that they're Laker fans. My husband's a Laker fan, so is the pastor.
So something in common there.
Yeah, but I mean, ever since then, we've really loved the church, and we made a lot of friends there. We've become much closer to God. We walk in our faith because of the pastor. You call him and you need something from him in a drop of a dime. He'll just come and help you, whether it's helping move or whatever it is, So I just really love the church. He gives you so much good spiritual help in it, and he just is really just loving in the church, and the people has grown. The church has grown because of his faith and the love that he has for God. You could see it in his heart, and you could see it in his eyes.
So have you been with the church before, like when you did a church plant there? Have you been there from the beginning, or did you come a little bit after? Were you invited to come, or how did that transpire?
We heard about it through a flyer, and we didn't go maybe, I think, the first 2 times that they had it, but after that we had been going.
Right.
Not every Sunday back then, but I mean, from then on, we started going, and we just love it. We made friends. I mean, you could see the passion in his eyes and in his wife, and his son.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because I'm a Catholic by faith, so like most, Hispanics, we're all Catholic.
I was too. I was Baptist Christian.
Right. Okay, but usually in churches, like if you like I'm a Catholic, I'm born in tradition. I can go to any Catholic church. I don't need the language. Just by what they're doing, I know where I'm at in the church, even though I can't understand what they're saying.
Right.
What basically, made you say, wow, I like this church? What was different from what you were used to that said, hey, I think I want to be a part of that church?
Well, the difference between, first of all, Catholicism and Christianity is, with Catholicism, when you go to the churches, there's so much protocol.
Yeah, protocol, tradition.
Right. I mean, you walk in there, you have, which I'm not debasing it at all.
Absolutely.
I mean, they're God believers, God-fearing people, and that's good. I respect them for that. When I used to go to Catholic churches, that's what I was kind of intimidated of, because I didn't know all the protocol. But we go to reflections. You just go in there with an open heart and an open mind, and just listen to the pastor, and you just feel really relaxed, because he's so normal. He's I'm not trying to say that he's not has to be
right.
But he really makes you feel really comfortable there. Everybody comfortable there, and he has a sense of humor, and you could just feel the passion in him. And
can I ask you this? In your spiritual walk with God, has it grown since you've been a member of that church? I think that's very important.
Because of Reflections, I've become a born-again Christian.
Wow, okay.
And I got baptized at their home where they have it, and my faith is so much stronger. A day does not go by that I thank God every day for everything. I mean, I always believed in God, but I never followed. I never walked in His path. I wasn't a reflection. I want to be a reflection of God, and because of Reflections, pun intended, I believe that I am a much better person than I was before. I mean, I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, but I mean, my faith is better than it was 5 years ago. Okay. So I feel the Holy Spirit in me. My husband feels the Holy Spirit, and we don't go a day without praying and giving God all the blessings that He has bestowed on us.
Oh, right on. Pastor Don has that pool in his backyard, I guess, and I don't want to go there and swim or anything. He invites me because, like I said, it's probably all holy water, and I don't want to be all burned up if I jump in the water, right? Yeah, so I'm going to do that. But let me ask you another question. So what is your opinion of Pastor Don as a leader, a motivator, and a servant of God?
Well, he is a leader. He does. He has, like I said before, not to sound redundant, but he does have a lot of passion in what he says, and he motivates you. Like, make sure to be here at the Bible studies and stuff, and it'll be a blast. Whoop whoop whoop, and you'll have a good time, and you'll feel the Holy Spirit, and you'll learn. And he motivates you to do the things that you want to do. You see the passion that he has in any of our functions that he has. And I want to feel what he has in him, because you could just see it. It's just the excitement and the Holy Spirit in him. So he does motivate people, and he is a good spiritual leader because he has these Bible studies. And,
so he's very consistent in how he does that. Now, is he one of those, and I know Pastor Don's kind of looking like, I don't ask that question, but I got to ask the question because this is the hot seat. You have a lot of pastors that put a lot of pressure on the parishioners to squeeze every dime out of their pockets and just, you better be here. You're here for me, not the other way around. You know what I mean?
Right,
you know what I'm talking
I've
about?
been in one of those churches.
So, I mean, is Pastor Don that type? Because, I've worked with the man, and I see nothing but grace when I talk to this person. So, is he that type where it's like, you got to be here, just demanding, which is a turn on?
When it pertains to the tithing and stuff, he doesn't. He just give what you can give.
Right.
And he understands people's financial situations.
Absolutely.
And, whatever we can give, we can give. And if I can give $1 million, I give $1 million.
Right.
So, but no, he doesn't pressure anybody. He's with that, and he understands people's financial situations, and whatever we can give, and he's very graceful with that. So
right. I always have a problem with the churches because God only demands 10%.
Right.
And a lot of churches demand more than 10%. Now, if you want to give more, like you said, you want to give $1 million, that's fine.
Right.
But I shouldn't be guilted into giving more than 10%.
Right.
That's all I want to give, no matter how much money I make. So, why are you and your husband, Scott, interested in becoming a part of a new church in Moreno Valley?
We want to help the church grow, Reflections grow. And if we can be an extension to that church and help another one and help the people around in the community know what a great church Reflections is. And I know this new church, if I can do anything to vouch for the new church that's going on there, me and my husband would be more than excited, because it is very fulfilling. He is very motivated. So I know it, God willing, will bring this church to be. Right now it's just maybe words and actions, but with God's grace and God's help, that we will have a church. And I don't mind being an assistant and to God or Reflections to bring this church together. So whatever we can do to bring it up, and for the community to also know what a great, because it's in Paris, but in Moreno Valley, it's a beautiful church. I know it'll be a beautiful church, so I know people will love to go. I'll put out flyers, and whatever needs to be done, and the people will know what a great blessing it would be to have this closer community church.
Right, opportunity. That's one of the reasons why I'm always going to be a Catholic. I can't deny that. But
no problem.
But your relationship with God is a personal relationship, so He's not going to judge me based on if I'm a Baptist.
No, God is not a judging God.
Yeah, He's going to base me on what I do. But I've always wanted to get involved in building a church like they did 100 years ago. And if a church has been here 100, 200 years, for 200 years, it's like, wow, I long after I'm gone, I built that church, and my name is etched in a stone that built the foundation of that church. And that's why I'm getting involved to do that, because I'm always asking God, I need this, God. Oh, please bless me for this, whatever. But you know what? When I look at it as an adult now, I always ask myself, what have I done for God? Because God has never asked me to do anything but follow Him. And not that this is going to get me into heaven to do it, but here's something that I did to show God how much I'm in love with His message,
he sees that,
and His blessing. So that's great. That's a great thing. So if you're at the parish church, how are you, and this church gets off the ground and everything gets going great, are you going to transition between both churches, or how does that work?
I asked myself that question, and I will be going to Reflections, and I will be going to this one wherever the pastor needs me at the time. If I have to flip-flop, I don't mean that in a negative way, but whatever needs to be done to be a servant of God, and also to assist in the pastor in his church, wherever I need to be for him, I'll be.
Well, I was always thinking, why don't these churches, especially when they're associated with each other, like you have one in Paris, there's no reason why these churches can't be like a college thing, like RCC. You have one in Norco, you have one in Riverside, you have one in Moreno Valley. It's the same thing. To me, it would be the same concept, because so that way I can enter, if I got some friends I want to sleep over here and I don't want to drive all the way to Paris, I can say, we've got an extension over here, I can go over here and have the same spiritual growth and meet new parishioners and new people there. So I think that's going to be a great thing. But absolutely, Pastor Don, I think I have a couple questions for you, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you, Pat.
Yes. Thank you again. So,
You're welcome.
what are the top 2 things that you would want to focus on first as a councilman? Oh, that's me. Wait, that's me.
I'm asking you this
Oh, I'm
question.
sorry. So I got a question for you. What are the first 2 things that same question. First 2 things that you want to do as your church plant? What is the first 2 things that you think that are important that we have to do?
I think that the first 2 things is I want to be able to go into this area of Rancho Belago and let them know who Jesus is.
Okay.
There's a lot of people, I think that we all need to have an opportunity to make a choice for Christ. I have a huge heart for the lost souls of an area. And I would love to, the first thing I want to do is I want to get to know the people in those communities that I can talk to them about Jesus and allow them to make their choice. And again, I mean, I think like Pat said it well, I'm not here to pressure anybody. I'm not here to, say, brimstone and damnation speeches.
Right.
I'm here to just talk about Jesus.
Right.
And the love of Jesus, the grace of Jesus, the forgiveness of Jesus, and allow them to make those decisions. My first thing is to get to know the people and educate and help them with the knowledge of understanding Christ. And then the second thing I'd love to do is to be able to take those folks that do understand who Jesus is and help them grow in their faith. I'm not as interested in numbers. Our parish church is 100, 120 people. It's not a big church. I'm not interested in big numbers. What I'm interested in is spiritual growth.
Right.
That every day they're getting closer to God. That's why I love when Pat said, that 5 years ago she really didn't know the God from the Bible as well. And today she is so much more in her faith. She's been baptized. That's what gets me high. Mm-hmm. That's what I enjoy. I love seeing people growing in their faith, exercising spiritual gifts for the Lord, and basically just expanding His kingdom. That's what it's all about. So those are probably the 2 biggest things: the lost, and then building people up in their faith.
Right. We previously talked about fundraising, and like I said, there's nothing wrong with nickel and diming, whatever people can give. Like I said, areas economically depressed, and but still, there's a parable of the lady and the rich man who gave more. I mean, you're a little bit more versed in that. What it does.
No, yeah.
And and I'm saying that for the listeners out there to say, hey, I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got $5 in your thing, and if you want to donate to the church, I'm going to be donating to the church and get this thing off the ground, because let's face it, Caesar requires money to get permits to get things built. And so we have to get this stuff going, and we got to have a lot of patience. We got to have a lot of faith, and we're going to get this thing built. We just have to be patient and be faithful, and it will get built, because it is something that is needed out there. I mean, you have a bunch of homes out there, but where are the churches?
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, I'm not seeing this in a way that, I'm not ever going to be the taskmaster in telling people they have to give money. Pat and I were talking on the way over here, and basically I don't take hardly any salary at my church in Paris. I'm not in this for the money. Right. Never have been, never will be.
Soul.
It's all about God, the souls of the people, yeah. And, God has blessed me. I'm not saying I'm on welfare and have no money. God has blessed me. I had a business. I made lots and lots of money, and God has blessed me that I have a savings that allows me to continue to live, and yet I can still do God's work. So, yeah, I would really appreciate, I would love for people to be able, if they would want to contribute monies to this new church plant for God's kingdom. That would be such a huge blessing.
Right. And, and we're going to work on that. Like I said, the election is tomorrow, everybody. So for me, Pastor Don, I'm going to say we haven't talked in about a week, but, it's nerve-wracking. It's very, whatever, but I am going to be so relieved after Tuesday, either way it goes. Yeah. And then I can focus my attention on things that I want to do.
Absolutely.
If I'm not chosen to serve the people. So.
Yeah, I want to go ahead. First of all, I want to thank Pat again for taking out time out of her schedule to be part of the podcast. So again, Pat, thank you.
And anytime you want to come on the podcast, please.
We would love to have you here.
Yes.
No
I do want to give the information out, Donovan, for the first core group meeting.
Okay.
It will be first core group meeting for Reflections Moreno Valley Church will be next Monday night, a week from tonight, November 14th, at Renewal Christian Fellowship in Moreno Valley. The address is 14093 Business Center Drive, which is right off of Ellsworth between between Alessandro and Cactus. Mm-hmm. It is literally right next door to the animal shelter. Right there in Edgemont, in the Edgemont area.
Right down the street from my house.
The gathering will begin at 6:30, but it doesn't matter. If you can't get there till 7:15, it doesn't matter. Come by even if you're a little late. We will have food and drinks, snacks and drinks, and awesome fellowship. We will be discussing the vision and the purpose of this church, plus the necessities needed for a church plant. And also I'll be introducing a new Bible study called Planting a Church God's Way. It will be a wonderful time as we lift off from the ground floor on expanding God's kingdom here in Moreno Valley. And I think Pat could attest to this. We have a lot of fun.
That's true.
It is not just, just strict Bible. I mean, it is Bible study, but we laugh, we joke, we enjoy ourselves. We knock the Lakers. Lakers are actually doing better.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
But we have fun. So it's not a time of drudgery. It is a time of excitement and a time of joy. But if you have any questions, you can text me. Phone number again is 951-522-1749. You can email me at reflectionschristianfellowship@gmail.com, or you can IM me, Don Meinberg, MEINBERG, anytime. Folks, I'm telling you, the time is now to prepare God's field for His new church. Let's do it together. Let's have fun to expand this kingdom. I really am excited to meet you and join in unity in building God's church. Now it's my turn.
Okay.
I am going to be the interviewer on my podcast show. I'm going to ask Donovan a couple of questions in regards to his running District 1 council seat here in Moreno Valley.
Okay, I got this.
There's still a lot of people in District 1 that have not yet voted, and I am praying that everyone is planning to vote tomorrow. This will be your last chance for Donovan to show you, the voter, that he is the right individual for this job. So, Donovan, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm ready. Right. I'm always ready.
I'll tell you. First question for you, my friend. What are the top 2 things you would want to focus on first as councilman in District 1?
Anybody that is running in District 1. Anybody. I don't care. There's 7 of us running. Every one of us, the top priority should be solving that water problem. So that's number 1. Because once you solve the water problem, it opens up a floodgate of opportunity and development in that area. Number 2, I think what we need to do is, it goes hand in hand with solving that water problem, the development of that area. But my number 2 priority is cleaning up the slumlords and making them accountable on their property. Because you have people that are living, like that lady I told you about months ago. This lady had a hole in her roof, and the slumlord is getting away with it, and she's paying rent for that. They don't clean up their properties. You've got them building structures in there that are unsafe for the children in there. Now, you've got the incumbent, LaDonna Jimson, who is, I'm for the people, and you care so much about the children. Well, if you care about the children, just because the majority of those children are Latino, why aren't you in there making sure that the environment that they live in is safe? It isn't about me. It's about my neighbors and my community. And I live in a community that is predominantly Latino. And I'm standing up for my neighbors. This isn't a racial thing. I'm standing up for my neighbors. Edgemont. I live in Edgemont. I have a reason, a selfish reason to be there, self-interest. I live there. And I'm looking at my neighbors and their children walking with no sidewalks. I mean, things that just, to me, is unconscionable. And if you ask, again, I'm not trying to indict anybody. If you don't live in Edgemont, why would you care? That's human nature. But the thing is, everybody's heard about Edgemont. And even if you've heard about Edgemont and, it's a ghetto, it's not a ghetto, it's an old neighborhood. Okay, you've heard about it. Why aren't you doing something about it? Miss Jimson, you have the power. Why aren't you doing something about it? And so those are my top 2 priorities, if you're asking me as a candidate.
You know what? Let me just tell you a little story here. I have a heart for this area as well. I lived in Moreno Valley for almost 12 years. I lived on the northern end of this district way back when. My son today lives in Edgemont, and he lives right down the street from right here. You brought up the idea of the standard of living for the slumlords and how they're treating some of their tenants in regards to the housing developments and how bad it is. So I agree. As I drive through Edgemont, the southern end of it, that there's a lot of attention that it needs. So my follow-up question to you on that, Donovan, is this: what is your specific plan on bringing up that standard of living on this south side of District 1 to match the standard of living in the rest of Moreno Valley? I've had people say, oh yeah, you're planning a church in Rancho Belago. Wow, nice richy area. Well, the only reason I'm in Rancho Belago is because it doesn't have any churches.
Right.
It has nothing to do with the financial affluency of the neighborhood. But I do see Rancho Belago, and I do see the south end of Edgemont, of District 1, and there is a major difference. So what is your specific plan to deal with these slumlords and to deal with the nature of living in this area?
Okay, Pastor John, that's a great question. And I'm going to tell you this, all the listeners out there. Stop thinking that these candidates have a magic wand and just because they say it could make it come true. Okay? We don't create jobs. We have a city staff that does all these things. But let me tell you something. If you know anything about government, which I do, I was an airport operations manager, which is equivalent to a city manager. So I know contracts, I know plans, I'm familiar with it. I'm not saying I'm an expert, I'm familiar with it. Here's how you do it. We already have rules that are on the books. This is simple stuff. This is not rocket science. Use your common sense. I am a citizen like anybody out there listening. So if you think you sitting out there listening to this program could be a councilman, you can. It's this. You don't have to be Einstein to do this. There are already rules on the books. We have a thing called code enforcement, do we not?
Yes.
Why aren't they doing their job? But yet we're paying them. Ask yourself that simple question. Code enforcement says you're not supposed to have your garbage cans in front of your house. But yet you look all over the city, everybody does what? They put their garbage cans in front of their houses. So how do I plan to enforce this slumlord issue? Just like I did when it came to that lady with the hole in her roof. I went to the city attorney and I said, here's the law, here's the code. This slumlord is not doing this, this, and this. It's his property. It's his property. Hey, according to the code enforcement, you can't always blame this on the citizen. It's not their property. So I think the landlord has a responsibility to go over there and police, and that's a military term, police, clean up your property and make sure it's clean. Yeah, trash is spilled out all over there. The ultimate responsibility lies with who? The landowner. Because we can't, unless you got cameras that says, oh, this kid did this or this person threw the trash out, it's his property. So you get code enforcement in there, you get the lawyers, the city lawyers that we pay to enforce what is going on, problem solved.
Well, you make it sound so simple, Donovan. If it is that simple just to get people to actually do their jobs, then why hasn't your opponent, the incumbent, done that?
Because they do not live in Edgemont, out of sight, out of mind. They do not care. And when I say that, I don't mean like in a carefree way, like she just doesn't give a damn. Excuse my language, Pastor. I'm sorry about that. I get passionate when I talk. But it's just a situation of you've got people who are running for office that think this is student government in high school. What you're doing affects people's lives. If you're not in this thing to make the district better, nobody gives a damn about what the city is doing. You are responsible to the people of the district. You need to show us, what are you doing in the district? If you take all 7 candidates right now and you put them together, so that means 6 candidates against me, not one of them can say what they've done in the last 2 years for the district of District 1 in their own right. Now, ask me what I've done. I got $280,000 worth of street repairs done. I got the cameras for Adrian Mitchell Park, and those cameras aren't cheap. That's over $100,000. I got sidewalks built so our children can go in to the parks. First female soldier killed in Moreno Valley. Her plaque was missing for over 20 years. I got that done. I'm still advocating getting these slumlords cleaned up. Miss Jimson made an appearance. I'm going to take a photo. Look. Just because you look busy doesn't mean you're doing anything. Looking busy and solving problems are 2 different things, Pastor, and you're a man of God and you know what I'm talking about. And that's what people need to know. And it's that simple. I mean, really, it is that simple. If you know how government works and you're qualified to be in government, this is not rocket science. That's how simple it is to get these things fixed. The city staff works for us. Even though we're 208,000 people, we're operating as if we're 46,000 people when the city was incorporated. We've got to change some of those rules and laws, and we got to change our charter on our city and become a charter city. That's another problem, because if people, you might not believe this, people, the city council is nothing more than a figurehead. Michelle Dawson and the staff, they make the decisions of what goes on in this city. And then they come to the city council and say, what do you think about this idea? And then we rubber stamp it. The city council just rubber stamps it. But if you're an effective city council member, you can go and see a slumlord and say, hey, I got a problem with this. City code, look into this. They're supposed to report back to you. If they don't report back to you, you say, okay, Michelle Dawson, I don't like this. My constituents say this is a problem. Get on it. And she's supposed to do that. And that's all off the TV cameras. This is something you're doing at City Hall behind closed doors using the laws that are already on the books. It's simple.
It does sound simple. It's sad. It actually saddens me, because if it was as simple as you sound, I know you're right, then why has nothing been done? And like I said,
is that a conspiracy? Do you think?
I don't know. As a God,
wait! I don't mean to cut you off. Let me ask you this: if there was a problem on the east side of the city where you've got people that have money, and there was a problem over there, how fast do you think that problem would be solved? There you go. That's my point. Yeah. But you have an area where there's predominantly poor Latinos living, and I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm saying, look, use your common sense. People that have money are on the east side of the city. The people that don't have money, been left behind, are on the west side of the city. When something, they're talking about the flooding issues over on the east side of the city where the high-end homes are. They talk about that almost every city council and planning committee mission. They're trying to solve that problem. We don't have sidewalks for kids to walk on. It's been going on for over 32 years, if not more. So you know me.
I'll tell you this. Your passion also tells a story. The fact that you've lived in this neighborhood for so many years, you've seen the ups and downs, and unfortunately it's been mostly downs. For the 20, 30 years, that you are a man that is passionate about this area, passionate about this district. I want to end with one last question for you, Donovan. My son is a millennial. He's 24 years old. And he lives here in Edgemont.
Oh my goodness!
I have Hispanic friends who live in District 1 who are a little bit better off. They live in the northern end of the city. Sure. And then I know some African American friends of mine who live in the areas that you're describing, in the slum areas of the city. All three of them, you're going to want to vote for Donovan Sadiq. I think you've made it clear why, but I just wanted to end this interview by asking one last time, why should my son, my Hispanic friends on the northern end, and then this African American family who's living in these slumlords, why should they vote for you? Why are you the candidate for them to lead this district into the next 4 years?
Very simple answer. You always vote your interests first, right? So look at all the candidates. How many of them actually live in the same situation that you're living? So your son lives in Edgemont, these people live in Edgemont, whatever. Hey, I live there too. I could have, when I retired from the Air Force, I could have lived on the east side of the city. I could have gone anywhere I wanted to. But I saw there was a problem here, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to run from this problem. It's not fair that these people get treated differently, but yet they pay taxes. They do everything that they're supposed to do within their means, and they're getting the short end of the stick. What kind of society are we living in? Jesus Christ did say, for the least of my brother, you are supposed to do. Are we doing that in this city? Edgemont is the...
He's quoting Matthew 25.
Oh, is that 25? Yeah, okay. I'm not a godly man, so there you go. I try to be. But Edgemont is the cornerstone of this city. If Edgemont was not here, there would be no Moreno Valley. That's a fact. Period. How did this end of the city get left behind? So if you're asking me, why should I vote for you? Why would you vote for somebody who lives on the east side? Why would you vote for somebody who lives up at the top? Why would you vote for a person, and let's throw out some names, Victoria Baca? She was recalled. She sat on the seat for 2 years. What did she do for you? Nothing. Now you've got the incumbent, LaDonna Jimson. She's been sitting on that seat for 2 years. What has she done for you? Nothing. I'm a regular citizen like you. What have I done for you in 2 years? I just got you $280,000 worth of street repairs with the help of Jesse Molina, the mayor at the time, who agreed that it's time that Edgemont gets its fair share. And that's all we're asking for. We're not asking for no special handouts. We have a lot of pride over here. My neighbors, like I said, they're very prideful people here. They don't want handouts. We just want to be treated fairly. Why did you take our money and put it in Nason Street that could have helped our side of the city? Why is it that when every time somebody needs to make a sacrifice, the First District and Edgemont community is asked to hold out a little bit longer? Well, we've held out as long as we can to where there's nothing left. And that's why they should vote for me. It's a no-brainer. Look, you got to vote your interest. Who's going to work for you? I'm a regular citizen, and I could name 5 or 6 things that I've done as a regular citizen. Imagine what I can do if I had the power.
Well, you know what, Donovan? First of all, I want to thank you for your passion, your candor, and your honesty in your answers. Now, folks, this is my podcast.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I think I got railroaded here, but that's good. That's okay. But I do want to end with this. I'm not going to tell anybody who to vote for. That's not my role. But I do want to ask you to please vote. But before you do, I'm asking you to please pray that the candidates you select are ones that have morals and values that you would want representing you in these elections. Make sure you pray, then you vote for the candidates who wants to work for you. You just heard Donovan. You heard what he's done when he has not been a candidate. What do you think he can do when he's got the power to be able to work for you? You want a man or a woman who you think that could serve your family completely and not their self-interest. And folks, last, I'm going to ask you to please pray, then vote for the candidates and the measures that will hopefully bring God back into our neighborhoods, our state, and our nation. I want to thank you guys so much for listening to my podcast. God bless you all. And please don't forget to vote tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Pastor Don. I'm sorry if I got a little emotional. I do that because I'm passionate about where I live, and it's no secret what's going on. And if you do your homework, you'll find out, and you'll be appalled at what's going on. And I do the best that I can. And I want to thank Mrs. Pat for coming on the show. And please, I look forward to working with you as we build this church. We have to be passionate. We have to be full. We have to fellowship. Again, please come to the meeting on Monday so that we can fellowship together and throw ideas left and right, because Pastor Don doesn't have all the ideas. I mean, he has a vision, but how does he get there? What's the easiest way to get there? I give him ideas all the time, and he says, that's stupid. That's dumb. But again, it's the idea of exchanging ideas because, again, like this podcast, Pastor Don, it's new to him and something that he loves to do. It's obvious he loves to do it, and he's touching so many people doing it. So we're here every Tuesday, 10 o'clock, I'm sorry, but the election's tomorrow, so my mind is bending. But we're here, and we're going to be doing this, and I just want to ask you real quick, how do you like this for a show name? The Mind of Meinberg. No, I've just thrown that out. It'd be funny. Yeah.
I think I'd rather be more of a godly.
Right, godly. Okay. Yeah, okay. I just got to throw it out there. But that's what the kind of stuff we're doing. You got to throw it out and exchange ideas and bring people in and just increase our faith. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about Pastor Don. This is Miss Pat. This isn't about Donovan Sadiq. This is about the Hot Show. This is about serving the community of Moreno Valley and Rancho Balago. And we need it. And with all the homeless out here, we are challenging so many things, and we need God. I'm a candidate, but guess what? I can't solve all the problems. But you've got candidates that will tell you they will. No such thing. The only person that's going to solve it is God, and that's the bottom line.
Amen.
Amen.
So thank you again, and we're going to see you guys next week. Pastor Don, we look forward to the thing Monday. I'm going to be there Monday. God willing, if anything else comes up, but I doubt it will. And we're going to report on this, and we're going to keep people informed about how the church is being built. And again, if you want to donate, we're going to put that information up and work with those aspects as well. So thank you guys again. Please join us again next week, and we'll see you here on the hot seat in Pastor Don's weekly devotional right here at the Starbucks on Day Street.
Until you change your